I think I was wrong then about the path that inflation would take. As I mentioned, there have been unanticipated and large shocks to the economy that have boosted energy and food prices and supply bottlenecks that have affected our economy badly that I, at the time, didn't fully understand.
A lot of words just to say I was wrong. Let's welcome in now Florida Congresswoman Kat Cammack, a member of the House Homeland Security Committee. Congresswoman, great to have you with us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I mean, not much catharsis there in that admission from Janet Yellen, but look, the first step to solving a problem is admitting you have one right here, and it seems like Janet Yellen finally willing to do that.
Yeah, I feel like I need to go out and buy a lottery ticket or something. Pigs must be flying outside, because this administration has, for the first time, admitted fault. And I don't think that has happened to date. But, I mean, are we all surprised? Really? This is what happens when you have an administration that is chock full of elitists and limousine liberals who have no real concept of what the real world is like in everyday America. So for her to originally come out and say that this is a transitory issue, that this will ease without any plan, without any real know-how of how to combat this, while simultaneously the government spending just last year up to $7 trillion. Well, they never had a plan, and now they're seeing that they cannot excuse their way out of this. So I think this is one of the many admissions to come.
And, we could all use some lottery winnings, of course, these days. Yellen doesn't need it, though. Still, the White House, Congresswoman, does not seem to want to admit their policies have led us here to historic inflation. Here is Jeanpierre yesterday describing, well, basically what Americans are facing in their words.
We're dealing with an economy that has really bounced back. More than 8.5 million jobs have been created. We've seen unemployment go down, and now we're in the transition period where we're going to be in a place where it's more stable and more steady.
A lot of spin there, bouncing back was a pit, of course, because of COVID lockdowns. But that word transition again, it's almost like we just have to deal with it.
For a minute there, I thought she was speaking Morse code. She was stumbling and bumbling so much. I'm not quite, she even understood what she was trying to say. But again, I come back to the fact that there is no real world experience within this administration to tackle these problems. You hear statements from Biden like, well, if we had been better mind readers. Well, if you or anyone in the administration had any parents in the administration that were dealing with this baby formula crisis, they would know that this had been brewing for months and it was of their own creation. Do they honestly believe that we are to accept that you take 50% of the baby formula in the United States off the shelves and no one's going to notice? Give me a break. They have been caught flat-footed. It is unacceptable. They need to put their political agenda aside and do what is best for Americans, plain and simple.
I know it's asking a lot, but we're yet to see any real kind of honesty from Jeanpierre from that podium yet at that position. And I think, based on what we saw with Jen Psaki, everyone's kind of, what do we expect, right? But it's just so bad right now, and we see that on a daily basis from her. The other thing, too, Congresswoman, is that a lot of the mainstream media have been forced to face the facts on this as well. I want to play some clips from around the horn here on some folks who have also been forced to face reality.
Although if you look at the numbers, inflation really started to rise almost exactly when Biden came in the White House.
The problem is that supply just cannot keep up with really strong demand as people travel more. The U.S. is not producing as much as it used to. Neither is OPEC. And so prices have nowhere to go but up.
There's also this clip from Bloomberg as well.
The people that's hitting the most, many of those do not have a college degree. Why is this administration focused on doing something which, let's face it, might play well in the midterms, but ultimately isn't going to help those people that need the help the most right now?
So again, that's Brian Deese. We'll spare everyone the answer because there really wasn't much of one there. But, they were talking about student loan debt relief at this time when, as that Bloomberg host indicated, that hurts really, and just as offensive to lower class, hardworking Americans. They're the ones that are going to take the biggest hit from that.
Well, that's exactly right. There's so many nuggets within those clips that you just played that need to be addressed. You know, you talk about the beginning of, well, they're saying, well, there's not as much being produced in the United States anymore. Well, that is a direct result of the Biden administration's assault and basically shutting down of a domestic energy production. What do you expect when you kill and you force through regulations and bureaucracy and restriction of permitting on our domestic production of energy? Of course, you're going to see prices go up. That's why Biden is now looking to do business with Iran and Venezuela. And being in Florida, we have a lot of Venezuelans who have fled that country. They have fled communism and Maduro's reign of terror. They can speak directly to how bad things get when you have a socialist regime in place, which is where we're headed. And then you hear, of course, Bloomberg hitting on the fact that this student loan debt repayment or relief. Well, listen, I may only have a minor in economics, but I can tell you that day one, we're all taught that there is no such thing as a free lunch. And at the end of the day, it will be paid for. You may think that you're getting a loan forgiveness, but you're going to be paying it back in the form of higher taxes. And the people who are going to get hurt the most are those blue collar working class families that have been doing everything right, paying their taxes, just trying to raise a family and make a living while not living paycheck to paycheck. And again, the elitists want to have this loan forgiveness while simultaneously spending $7 trillion worth of debt on all these crazy wish list programs like the Green New Deal. It's nonsense. This is why Republicans are taking back the House in November.
Yeah, and real quickly, we want to go back to the baby formula because we don't want it to fade from the headlines as all these other crises are happening. Kat, you really blew the lid off the border stockpiles. You tweeted that photo. Is there any intel about the situation today that we know a lot of families would like to hear? Do you have any updates on that front?
Well, you know, it was pretty crazy to me that, you know, and I don't think anything really exemplified the America Last policies of the Biden administration more so than empty shelves in American stores across the country when it came to baby formula. Meanwhile, stockpiles at the border. And not once has anyone ever said we want babies going hungry. That's ridiculous. That's why the left is losing their mind over it, because they want to spin an emotional narrative that is false. But today, we know for a fact, and the FDA administrator has admitted it, that they didn't have a plan, that they did not do a good job in doing the investigation, and they quietly released the facts that there was no bacteria found in the formula that was connected to that plant. Yet they still kept the plant shut down going all the way back to March. They have done little in the way of releasing the tariffs and the formula that we're basically shipping in. I mean, it's not nearly enough. We have to get back to full capacity in manufacturing. We never had any problems before Biden, but it seems like Donald Trump was right once again. Everything that is woke turns to crap. And I cleaned that up. But
thank you for cleaning that up, Congresswoman. We appreciate it. We try to have a family-friendly audience here. The point, though, well taken. Sometimes there are no substitutes for those words. But we appreciate it. Congresswoman Kat Cammack from Florida, great to see you.